Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Women's Advanced Bible Study of the 15th of December, 2022. Okay, I'm gonna be picking up dealing with I'm gonna go back in on some stuff we talked about last night out of the book of Enoch. I revisit that for the topic. Okay, we're gonna go to our YouTube channel. I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. And it's a lot of information that is given on our videos, and they'll connect dots for you and bring you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures, which is Tanak. And if you like what you're hearing, I'm asking you to like, share, subscribe to the channel, or it'll be appreciated. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with Tanak, which is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and we deal with the Torah, first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Okay, and we want to say shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our usual, which is a moment of silence, a prayer, and our Psalms. And being that it's our Women's Night, we're going to do our Women's Health current event, and then we'll do a little need to know information, some Q&A, and we'll go back into the topic on the Book of Enoch. Okay, so this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our deliverance, prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face, looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servants David, Solomon, Samuel, and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad, for we know that you possess the power to turn us. We desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and our soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea. Hear and do, O Lord, and hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. We'll read the Psalms. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalms 55. It's a cry against deceitful friends. It's a Psalm of David. It said, give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplications. Attend unto me and hear me. I mourn in my complaint, and I make noise because the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked, for they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror have overwhelmed me. I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Lo, then would I wander far off and remain in the wilderness, Selah. I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go about it upon the walls thereof. Mischief also and sorrow are in the midst of it. Wickedness is in the midst thereof. Deceit and guile depart not from her streets. For it was not an enemy that reproached me, then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me, that did magnify himself against me, then would I have hid myself from him. But but it was thou, a man mine equal, my guide, and mine acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together and walked unto the house of God in company. Let death seize upon them, and let them go down quick into the hell, for wickedness is in their dwellings and among them. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He hath delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there was many with me. God shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old, Selah, because uh, they have no changes. Therefore they fear not God. He hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. For thou, O God, shall bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. So that was Psalms 55, the cry against deceitful friends, the Psalm of David. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Yeah, so I was just want to shine light on verse 17. Says David says in verse 16, as for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Then 17, evening, morning, and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. So you go back to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. The reason why they was thrown in the fiery furnace was because, well, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was thrown in the furnace because they was keeping, you know, 3 times a day. That's what the in the book of Daniel said. Daniel said at the evening's oblation, they sacrifice a lamb in the morning, lamb at noon, and they sacrifice a lamb in the evening. Those 3 oblations that they do it when the temple was there every day. So that's what he's talking about right here when he says evening, morning, and at noon. Okay. Okay. Anybody got any comments? No comments? Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up for women's health. Um, we'll deal with that.
Shalom. I hope someone gets something out of this tonight, since this is, um, a night for, dispersing information, need to know information. So, did you know that your body is a temple? So, when you hear the phrase, your body is a temple, what comes into your mind? Anybody?
New Testament.
No. New Testament? Okay. Hopefully, I direct you to the Old Testament. Okay. For me, I think about the body in relation to food. How you feed your body, that's how it grows and thrives. Feed it with junk, and it leads to your body's destruction. When you don't take care of your temple, it ends up in ruins. This means that your body should be treated with the highest level of respect and dignity. God gifted us with the best food ever. Genesis 1, verses 29 through 31, the giving of food. Verse 29, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in thee which the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Verse 31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So treating your body like a temple means to honor and respect the body that the Lord has created for you. As Israelites, we know the Spirit of the Lord lives within, and the body houses the Holy Spirit. To keep a healthy temple, it is important to eat healthy foods, get the right amount of sleep, and exercise. So, what can you do to really treat your body with respect and devotion that it deserves? Recognize the Lord loves you. The reasons why people eat beyond their satisfaction is they eat for comfort, love, companionship, or some other emotional fulfillment. When you truly understand the depth of God's love, food is no comparison. Eat real food, not packaged food. Hunger, are you truly hungry, or are you eating just because? Just because others are eating or that food looks amazing, you have the habit to clean your plate. It's that time of the day. There are so many reasons we eat, and most of those are not because of hunger. When we eat because of pure hunger, our body will take those nutrients and use them completely without needing to add to your storage bag. 4. Commitment. Commitment is the key to regaining your body as a temple. Commit yourself to see food as a gift from the Lord, a gift that should not be abused but cherished. Last, God's word leads us to use our bodies, and God's word says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. When we acknowledge that our bodies are marvelous because they were made by the Creator, we will treat our bodies with respect and embrace who we are. So we just need to thank the Lord, take care of our bodies, and treat them in a way that will give praise to our Creator. Psalms 139 and 14. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, in that my soul knoweth right well.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that information. Okay, um, with that being said, I want to say shalom to everybody. Um, Glad to see y'all again on Women's Night. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna go to some current events. Okay.
Soaring food prices at some of the biggest grocery stores in the United States are leading American shoppers to flock to discount supermarkets in search of better deals. One of the most popular chains, Aldi, is now watching demand for their products skyrocket. And while that might seem like a good thing for the grocer, it's causing some major inconveniences for their customers. Hundreds of reports detail that consumers are getting angry and frustrated with stockouts of basic everyday items that have been lingering for months. Empty shelves are spreading across the store, and to make things worse, now the retailer is warning that price increases are inevitable and that a wide range of products may double in price soon. Today, we have decided to investigate which products are gone from shelves and which are in short supply and may be gone next. But before moving on, please support our work with a thumbs up on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Although the pandemic has faded away, the damage it's caused to supply chains has remained with us to this very day. This complex network of operations has been broken by a myriad of disruptions in the past few years, and then mended back together again and again in an attempt to bring things back to normalcy. But up until May, suppliers, producers, contractors, and wholesalers were still coping with the Omicron wave. Labor shortages, slower manufacturing, and freight interruptions that continued to restrain their ability to replenish retailers' inventories swiftly. The current challenges faced by grocers today are all reminiscent of the issues they faced 2 years ago. A system that never fully recovered and that continues to fall apart every now and then. It's been a struggle to restock inventories when producers and distributors still face mounting difficulties to source goods. Given that one single obstruction can create a ripple effect that may extend for years, it's safe to say that those challenges will stay with us for quite some time. No business is immune to stockouts these days. Grocers from Walmart to Costco to Trader Joe's and Albertsons as well are all reporting concerns about keeping certain consumer staples in stock. Some schnuck stores have actually posted signs essentially telling customers that if a shelf is empty, there's no more stock in the back they can go fetch. They're simply sold out. And at stores of one of America's favorite discount grocers, Aldi, things are no different. Now that consumers are seeing their food budgets getting smaller and smaller, thanks to the highest prices in decades, they're turning to shops where they can stretch their dollars as far as possible. The rising demand has been very beneficial for Aldi, which saw a big boost in revenue in the last few quarters, and an impressive monthly sales growth of roughly 4%. However, it's getting increasingly evident that the retailer isn't equipped to absorb all of that new demand without facing some inventory holes and missing items. The grocer has actually put out a notice to customers asking for their patience during the holiday shopping season, stating that delivery delays are happening again, and noting that troubles in sourcing supplies are impacting the entire food industry.
So, anybody seen any signs of this where they live at? Stores getting empty where they live?
Yes.
Okay. So, how you feel about that?
Oh my goodness, not good. You really want to, stock up, extra, especially when it comes to like, water and your paper products, just the basics. And then when you go in to shop, what they have as fruits and vegetables is really just not good.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like when you go in and they have things that you've been looking for, you just really try to go ahead and stock up while they have it. And so I live in a small town, so, we don't have a lot of options here
Right.
to shop. Yes. So whenever I go, out of town to Houston or other places, I always try to do a little shopping on things that I can't find here.
Right. Yeah. It's not like we ain't been here before. You don't want to wait till the last minute, and then when they start bum rushing the store, and then you're sitting there uh without the essentials, the things you need. Yeah, I got a wake up call. Probably I would say, probably I think it was doing this Ada, the hurricane that came down here, and I was out of tissue paper. And from that moment on, I said I'll never get caught like this again.
Okay.
So I stay stocked up. That is not a good feeling.
It's not.
Okay, toothpaste. Yeah, is this on? Okay, I got another one right here.
The petrodollar. It's a combination of two words, petroleum and dollars. Global oil trade takes place using the US dollar. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency, as well as a global benchmark of sorts. That's why forex reserves of most countries are maintained in US dollars. Since the dollar is the world's reserve and benchmark currency, crude oil transactions are done using it. That gives the United States a lot of power over global trade and financial transactions. Countries now increasingly view the USA's dollar hegemony as a threat. Washington can weaponize this hegemony to hurt any country, like it did when it froze hundreds of billions of dollars held by Russia as reserves in the US. So, what is the world doing about the petrodollar system? How do countries intend to end the domination of the dollar? And should the US be worried? Hello and welcome. This is Sanveer Singh Ranhotra, and you're watching First Post. Let's tackle the last question first. Yes, the US needs to be very worried. The petrodollar system has not been challenged in decades. Before we get to that, how did the US dollar become so powerful in the first place? Saudi Arabia has traded its oil exclusively using the US dollar since 1974. That was the year Riyadh signed a deal with the United States to use only the dollar for oil trade in exchange for solid security guarantees. This marks the birth of the petrodollar. This further strengthened the dollar's status as a reserve currency. Today, the dollar's tight grip on global trade and its status as the world's reserve currency is being viewed with increasing suspicion by a host of countries. This has led to talk of de-dollarization. This is not just a dangerous concept, but a dangerous idea for any political leader to have. The United States has gone to war to protect its dollar hegemony, all the way from the Gulf War in the 1990s, the brutal ouster of Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq, the absolute obliteration of Gaddafi in Libya, to the 8-year-long war with the Assad regime in Syria. All these regimes had one thing in common. They dared to challenge the USA's petrodollar hegemony and paid a heavy price for it. But this time, the challenge the US faces is not from some Arab nation. The challenge is coming from the second largest economy in the world, China. China's ambitions go beyond just being the most dominant economy. It wants to replace the United States as the leader of a new world order. You see, last week was something straight out of USA's worst nightmares. China's Xi flew into Riyadh in a pompous state visit intended to boost Beijing's ties with West Asian countries. Things got interesting when Xi Jinping told Gulf Arab leaders on Friday that China would work to buy oil and gas using the Chinese yuan. The Chinese president also said that his country will, and I quote, make full use of the Shanghai Petroleum and National Gas Exchange as a platform to carry out yuan settlement of oil and gas trade. China will continue to import a large amount of crude oil from the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, expand imports of liquefied natural gas, strengthen the engineering services in oil and gas upstream development, and the cooperation in storage, transportation, and refining. China is Saudi Arabia's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade worth $87.3 billion in 2021. In fact, it's the world's largest importer of crude, and most of its supplies come from Saudi Arabia. China purchases around 18% of all its oil from Saudi Arabia. In the first 10 months of this year itself, China bought oil worth $55.52 billion from Saudi Arabia. That's a large volume. Imagine that transaction not being done using dollars. The yuan being used for oil trade between China and Saudi Arabia will greatly shore the Chinese currency's value and stature as not just a national currency, but one which can be used to settle trade globally. Meanwhile, Russia and China have been increasing the use of domestic currencies in mutual settlements of trade transactions. Many Russian firms, mainly dealing in energy, have begun issuing yuan-denominated bonds, and several banks are offering deposits in the Chinese currency. India has also taken steps to work out a rupee-ruble trade mechanism for its energy purchases from Russia, which has emerged as India's top oil supplier. When seen together, these are all steps that countries are taking to decouple from the USA's greenback currency.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people don't really see the significance of that, but China, Russia, and India, those BRIC countries they're pecking at the dollar, trying to break it down. And when they do, it's coming. When it comes, it's going to be if you're not prepared, it's going to be hell on earth, especially in America, because they're not going to be able to print money no more like they used to once the dollar loses its dominance in the world. And that's it. That's the beginning of the end. We already see that coming as we going. I mean, I got to keep on reminding everybody of that, because when it happened, when you ain't prepared, it's going to be too late to try to prepare, because people are going to be running on the grocery stores, they're going to be running on the gas stations, running on the banks. You know, you don't want to be caught up in that. Okay? Anybody got any comments on that?
I have something.
What
I
you
have
got?
something to share. Am I
What you got?
clear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
Can you-
ma'am.
Okay. Last night when we had the class and we were talking about the pillars of fire.
Right,
And I was talking about I had read a different version in the Targum. So
right.
I wanted to share it with everybody tonight.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be there in about. I'm gonna do some. I'll be at Q&A in a minute. I'll do this need to know, and then I'm gonna open up for Q&A.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Let me do this Q&A right quick. So this is about. Let me play this right quick.
Welcome back to the channel. I definitely had some technical difficulties that time. I need you all to let me know if you can hear before I continue on with this broadcast. I would very much appreciate it. Chime into the chat and let me know if you can hear. Something very, very strange happened with that last broadcast. I can't even understand what happened, but something definitely took place. Let me know if you can hear me this time before I continue on with the broadcast. Someone in the chat. I know there's a lag behind with my speech and with the actual audio that you're receiving. So I'm going to invite others to join in with us. Thank you very much, Benita and Drew and DBI. Thank you. There's something so strange happened, and I don't know what it was. The reason it did. Anyway, let's get into this very sad yet disturbing story. Very sad, very disturbing. Some of you may have had a chance to go and look it up. Since you saw the title there, some of you all had mentioned in the chat that you were just looking at the story right before I went live on this. I mean, what can you say about something like this, family? What can you say about something like this? This is beyond deeply disturbing. But this is why I always quote that scripture, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle. I'm not going to be with you long on this broadcast because there is something else that I would rather speak to you about, okay? It kind of sort of has something to do with this, but not really this particular story. But you see what has happened here. We are looking at a very tragic situation where a pregnant woman was taken out, set on fire by her own brother after her baby shower. Now, based on his age, he was 42. He's 42 and she was 26. So he was a big brother, older brother. He was, supposed to be her protector, okay? Supposed to be her protector, but we have to understand, family, that something is happening, something has happened in the world. And that is what I want to talk about. I'm going to share a little bit with you about this story first, for those of you who haven't heard it as of yet. After I share this, then I will be ending this live, and I will be going live on a whole other topic. I'll be going live on a whole other topic. But this is just so tragic all around. All around, this is very tragic. So let me share the details of this story with you. So anyway, this brother took out his sister and set her on fire, okay? Look into his eyes. So a California man has been arrested for allegedly um, doing this to his own sister, who was pregnant, 8 months. 8 months pregnant. So this was a baby in her womb that is no longer here as well. She had just had a baby shower. The Fresno Police Department on Wednesday announced the arrest of 41-year-old Aaron Dudley for the taking out of his own 26-year-old sister, Nakia Rebecca Logan, and her unborn son in Fresno. A maintenance crew discovered Logan's body Tuesday afternoon near an apartment complex in the 4400 block of North Cornelia Street. A witness told police, who were called to the scene, that they observed a suspicious person pushing a city garbage bin along an unpaved road near the housing complex, and then setting fire to its contents. Dudley was arrested while trying to run away from the West Fresno home he shared with his sister and their mother as cops were executing a search warrant there. Authorities said Logan was 36 weeks pregnant and celebrated her baby shower on December 11th, just 2 days before her brother took her out, which Fresno Police Chief Paco Valderrama described as horrific. Valderrama said Logan planned to name her baby son Noah. The child did not survive after being stabbed multiple times inside the uterus, according to the chief. Investigators believe Dudley repeatedly stabbed his sister with an alleged weapon, dumped her body in the city trash bin, wheeled the container 4 blocks to the dirt road, doused the corpse with gasoline, and set it on fire. Police did not say what could have motivated the killing, but they did reveal that officers were previously called to the siblings' home on July 28, 2021, when Logan complained that she feared for her safety. Valderrama said that in that incident, Dudley was deemed to be a threat either to himself and others, and was placed on a 72-hour hold.
Okay. Anybody heard anything about that?
I did not.
Yeah.
No, I did not. This is my first. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, someone redirected me. Want check out more of it, but yeah, I mean, to me that seems like it's like the chaos is being escalated as far as things that people do. It's getting more and more horrendous, and from my observation, it looks like to me it's tied to that CERN. Anybody know what that is? Yeah, they're dealing with that CERN. They supposedly bringing those particles or whatever you call it from this other dimension, bringing them into this dimension, and they're saying even if they get a little gram of it, and they once they bring it from wherever they're getting it from to here, it's like total chaos break out wherever they have it at. If they have it in a laboratory, it's like chaos breaks out all around that whole area. I don't know if anybody did any research on that, but yeah, that's what it seemed like to me, because it's just crazy, unnecessary stuff starting to go on.
Right. They opened up a portal.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you're right. And ever since then, people been doing a lot of crazy stuff.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Unnecessary stuff. It's like, they bringing in entities or demons or whatever. It's coming in when they do that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna open it up for the Q&A. Anybody have anything they want to bring up or you want to discuss? We can talk about it right now. And I got a couple of things I want to talk about too.
So is it okay to go now?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Before I start, have you guys heard of a book called The Book of Memorials?
I think I heard that.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, anyway, so last night we were talking about the pillar of fire. You know, when the Lord of hosts led us through by day and night.
Yeah, exactly.
So now this is from the Targum, and the Targum is just the first 5 books, the Torah.
Okay.
So, but listen to how they describe it. I'm just to give a little context. Um, this is when we were getting ready to leave, and this is in Exodus. It says chapter 12, but it's not in verses. It's just like a book, like a scroll.
Okay.
So anyway, it says, and the people carried their dough upon their heads, being unleavened, and what remained to them of the Paschal cakes and bitter things they carried, bound up with their raiment upon their shoulders. And the sons of Israel did according to the word of Moshe, and as of the Egyptians, vessels of silver and vessels of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor and compassion before the Egyptians, and they brought forth to them, and they emptied the Egyptians of their riches. And the sons of Israel moved forth from Pilusin towards Succoth, 130,000, protected thereby 7 clouds of glory on their 4 sides, one above them, that neither hail nor rain might fall upon them, nor that they should be burned by the heat of the sun, one beneath them, that they might not be hurt by thorns, serpents, or scorpions, and one went before them to make the valleys even and the mountains low, and to prepare them a place of habitation. And they were about 600,000 men journeying on foot, none riding on horses except the children, 5 to every man, and a multitude of strangers. 240 myrads went up with them, and sheep and oxen and cattle, very many. And they divided the dough which they brought out of Egypt, which they had carried on their heads, and it was baked for them by the heat of the sun into unleavened cakes, because it had not fermented. For the Egyptians had thrusted them out, neither could they delay, and it was sufficient for them to eat until the 15th of the month Ijar, because they had not prepared provisions for the way. And then, so check this out. It says, 4 nights are there written in the book of memorials before the Lord of the world. The first night, when he was revealed in creating the world. The second night, when he was revealed to Abraham. The third night, when he was revealed in Egypt, his hand killing all the firstborn of Egypt, and his right hand saving the firstborn of Israel. The fourth night, when he will yet be revealed to liberate the people of the house of Israel from among the nations.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. One thing that stuck out is when they wondered after the spies that came, and the 10 spies gave an evil report, and the people sided with them, and the Lord's anger was kindled, and he caused them to wander in the wilderness for 40 years, right? And it says that their clothes didn't wear out, or their shoes didn't wear out. So that kind of stuck out when you were saying that one of the angels was under them.
Right, and then it says they were protected by the 7 clouds.
Right. They kind of it stuck out when that's the first thing I thought of. Because it's like, if they was walking, if they was wandering in the wilderness in a normal setting, it's like quite natural. His clothes would wear out and their shoes would wear out, but it must have been something supernatural going on. The reason why their clothes and stuff didn't wear out and their shoes didn't wear out.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I was trying to say. That's why I was like, man, you never know. But this right here, I thought this was pretty dope. I wanted to share it with everybody.
Right. Yeah. That was interesting. Yeah. That was which Targum was?
It's the Targum of Jonathan ben Uziel on the
Yeah.
Tanakh.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Because in this one too, they just straight up says it says in Genesis about it says that Eve was with Sam. What's his name? Uh, the they have his name is Sam.
Samuel.
I think it is Samuel, but yeah, it just says straight up about them having sex in the garden and this Targum is
Right.
they don't it ain't no um biting from the tree.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they just and in this book also, I was reading where it was saying that Michael was given to Israel. Yeah, Michael was the Lord of hosts. That
Right.
it says it in the Targum in this book.
Okay. It was who the author?
Lewis Smith.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Anybody else have any comments or questions or something they want, or anything they want to add to that? Okay. Everybody good? Yeah. So I'm gonna play this right here, and then I'll see if I can get some feedback on it. I'm starting to see more and more of this that's coming up on YouTube and on Rumble. We play this, and then we'll see what y'all got to say about it.
Woman and just their situation, just how much delusion is out here with the modern women. Let's view it.
Modern day women are seriously delusional, and they're giving women in general, especially in America, a really bad rap, and I'm kind of tired of it.
Yes, they are. They're really hurting a lot of y'all who really want a man.
They live in this delusion and on this pedestal that they themselves have created, thinking that all they need is a pretty face and some good.
Yeah, a lot of them do think that way, and they find out the hard way that has no value to men, because there's a lot of women out there that have that.
And that's it. They think that once they attract a man with their long blonde weave and their bat wings.
Oh boy, let me go ahead and clap on that, man. That's that. I've been saying that. I mean, come on, man. Y'all doing too much, and y'all doing way too much. Some of y'all can't even close your eyes to some of these lashes.
That man is just going to stay devoted and committed to them. That he's going to spend all his money on her and pay all her bills and do all this stuff for her. Woman, you are seriously delusional. What do you think? A man is just a wallet to you?
Yes, a lot of them think a man is just a wallet to them. Yes, that's what it is. And a lot of these men are saying, hell no, I'm not your wallet at all. I don't even got to give you crap. I work for mine. Yeah, I'm not giving it to you. That would be dumb.
Men deserve to be catered to. Men deserve to be treated sometimes. Men deserve flowers. Men deserve to be taken on dates.
Well, I will say this much why I disagree. I don't want no flowers. I'd just rather have respect. I'd just rather have honor. Cooking a meal. Flowers to me is just, like I said, spending time with me. Flowers to me is, doing what my wife do in the bedroom with me, that's enough flowers for me. That's what women get. No, I mean, as men, we're not asking for that in general. We really not.
Men deserve their feet rubbed. Men deserve for you to go out and buy them something on a random Tuesday.
I mean, yeah, your woman, let me tell y'all something. Let me give y'all a secret, ladies, if you want to buy your man something. Just listen to things that he talk about in y'all conversation. He's not asking for anything. Just listen for it. One key that you can do, ladies, for your man is, let's say if he's discussing something from childhood, and he's just having this conversation with you about something he always loved, or something he lost from childhood, right? And stick that in your mind. And then when you want to give him something, go get him what he discussed in childhood that he lost, or that something that he always loved from his childhood that he haven't had in years. Or, you know, just some place that he really liked to go, or wanted to go, you know, or whatever. You know, just like women like when men do that, do the same thing with men. It shows that you were listening to him. It shows that you care about him enough to try to give something to him that he was always, you know, wanting or desiring or haven't thought about since childhood. You know what I'm saying? Do that, you know, instead of some random, you know, cologne or something like that.
Whether it's flowers and t-shirts, socks, drawers. Men deserve to be spoken positively to every morning. Give him some positive affirmations. Kiss his penile gland.
Yeah, she's definitely right about that. There were studies that show that men that kiss their wives every day actually extend their lives by 5 years. Men who have a wife actually live longer. Single men die faster than men who have wives. This is why I'm a firm believer of men having a wife. I'm not for men just hot dicking all over the world. Not for that. I believe, you know, when it comes to passport bros, it's about you finding a wife. It's not about you just giving a girlfriend. Because there are men who are scared of commitment, and I don't support those men at all. You need your wife. Statistically speaking, men make more money when they have a wife.
Pray for him.
Reacher Season 1 on DVD
Okay.
and Blu-ray.
That was the halfway point. Anybody got any comments so far?
They not talking about no laws, statutes, or commandments.
Okay. No, I'm just trying to get some feedback. In a roundabout way, it's kind of, you know, laws and statutes is included in it, but it's not really.
Exactly, because none of that matters if you ain't keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right. Okay.
None of it.
Okay. All right. We'll play a little more, then we'll go into the lesson.
Figured men.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also want them to be loving and caring and wear all these hats. But she thinks she only has to wear one, which is to look good.
Which means nothing. Because let me tell you about looks. Looks will fade because we all going to get older if we live long enough. So if your whole currency was looks, then what's going to have to happen is that means your man will have to trade you in for a younger model. That's why if you're thinking you obtained a man by looks and your looks is keeping him only, it's a short-lived window for you because you're going to hit the wall.
She doesn't have to do anything outside of looking good. She spent all her money getting her ass done, getting her lips plumbed, buying all those bundles of hair that isn't hers, spending all that money on the long claws to attract them.
Yeah, them eagle talons that a lot of them walk around with. Like, why are you walking around with them eagle talons? Why? And why are some of you men dating these women like that? Because at the same time, it's some of your fault too. Because you still be walking around with these women with these eagle talons. There's certain lengths of nails that look good. You know, the almond shape is fine. Even if you got the pointed nails, it's still a certain length that still look good. I have no issue with women's nails getting done. Like men are, right? Y'all call them dusty all day. Yet they're in a dusty situation. They're not married either. But I'm just saying. But hey, it's a hustle for them at that point, but at y'all expense. See, they love to try to talk about brothers who try to call out, the hood rats and all of that, and talking about, oh, y'all making money off of the backs of hood rats and all of that. It's like, what about the females that's making money off the backs of delusional women and women that can't get no man and keep feeding them poison when they'll never get a man? What about those women? They running up a check too.
Okay. Any comments? Isn't that making any sense?
To me it's making some sense. She is not connecting a lot to the scriptures, I don't know why, maybe she's not in it. I don't know. But what she's saying to me is, it's making sense. It's basically about the respect. That's what she's saying, respect. I did watch this video, and what she's saying is that as women, we think that we deserve more, when we don't. We want everything brought to the table for us.
Right.
But we are not willing to, put out. We're always complaining. We think our looks, that is going to get us what we need. And now it's more than that. And she was talking about the modern day woman, but as Hebrew Israelite women, we should understand about the order, the commandments and all that. We should understand that. And I think watching that video as a Hebrew Israelite woman, I was taking in what she was saying, but from a Hebrew Israelite woman standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the modern day woman is really out of control.
Right. So it's, in some ways, as far as when we start talking about, if you see them tying into the scriptures, it's like from what they're saying, they didn't reverse the role, because they not acting as if they'd help me from the way she's coming at it. You know what I'm saying? They're not acting like they help me. They're acting as if the man to help me, and they, everything revolving around them.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that scripture though?
Oh yeah, that's scripture. That's part of scripture, but
that's scripture. And then, but it just made me feel like, first of all, we the daughters of Zion. We don't walk around with our nails and all that other kind of stuff. It's like wicked people trying to counsel to us, and I'm just not feeling it. That may be me, and I'm still working on me, y'all.
Right,
but yeah, but I'm just saying, it's just like you guys can, that's not us.
Right.
That's those Christians and all of those other, people that ain't trying to keep the laws.
Right.
But this ain't pertaining to us, I don't think.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Anybody else got to come in? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna play this right here. Then we'll go into the list.
It's definitely being spoken about more and more now, and it's credit to the brothers and sisters at the grassroots. We have said that we need reparations. We can no longer just look at this as something that we can't focus on. We looked at all the money that was given during the pandemic, how easily it was for them to put.
Yeah, what he's talking about is he's saying that he noticed a bunch of African Americans out there are afraid to receive reparations. Okay.
Millions and trillions of dollars in the bank accounts of many Americans. We look at the PPP program, even though they had a lot of that, but there was still a lot of billions of dollars that the government just gave out, and the government was forgiving a lot of that too. So we seen all that. We say, you know what? It's time to start talking about reparations, because they can do this. They can do reparations. See, if the pandemic would have never shown up, maybe the reparations conversation wouldn't have got louder. But we saw all of that billions and trillions of dollars going into the bank accounts of everybody. We knew it could be done, even at a federal level. Reparations is a debt owed. It's not a handout. It's not a program for being discriminated or anything like that. It's a debt owed for Black people building America. There would be no America unless Black Americans built it. None of these other groups that have came to this country have really built anything. Sure, they may have some that worked on a few projects here and there, but they did not build America from the ground up. That was Black America. You would not have Washington, D.C. It wouldn't meant for Black America. The White House, built by Black America. The Capitol building, everything built by Black America. You had railroads that was built, roads that was built. The wealth of America came through Black America. And we have to always let everybody know that. The white man himself did not build anything because he was sitting back crossing his legs, being lazy, drinking iced tea while Black people were building the nation. So he didn't even build anything. He didn't even get free from the British on his own. It wasn't been for Brother Christopher Addicts to start off the Revolutionary War. He's never done anything on his own. That's why he claims that he is superior. Like superior where? Because you never showed us anything you have done. You've never done anything in America on your own without the assistance of Black America. So within our own community. They don't want to tell you that, but I'm telling you. Because a lot of you is so socialized to be underneath, but you be underneath white folks and how they do things. You don't want to own your own business. You don't want to create your own schools. You don't want to grow your own food. You rather fight with white people about what they do with food instead of you going out there and grow your own food. You don't want to create your own clothing line. We're talking about the majority. You really don't want to do that. Because see, when you get reparations, it's going to make you have to do something. Because now at that point, they're going to tell you, white America, okay, Black folk, you got all this money now. Do something with it. Don't come over here begging, talking about diversity on the job. You got money now. Get yourself together and create some businesses and hire your own. That's what you're afraid of. That they're going to look at you and tell you that. Because a lot of you, if you don't do it and you squander that, let's say you squander the money, white folks going to be on your behind worse than what they ever was. Because yeah, they're going to be upset that they had to give you the money. Of course. But the fact is, for you to say, oh, well, why don't you hire us? You know what they're going to say? What happened to that $223,000 that the government gave you behind? Why are you back over here? Why you go create businesses? You mean to tell me between four of you, right? Between four of you, that was almost $1 million. Four of you couldn't get together and create a business? Four of you? You had almost $1 million between all four of y'all. Every four, let's say they gave you that amount of money. Every four Black people would have about almost $1 million. Almost. And you mean to tell me every four out of the four, or out of at least two of y'all, you can create a business to hire people in your own community? You back over here begging us for a job?
Okay. Any comments?
I don't know what people who he talking about. Because over here in California where I am, I ain't heard nobody talking about they scared about getting reparations.
Yeah,
That
that's
just sound like that's all cap.
Right. I'm not understanding that one.
Yeah, that don't make no sense. He just needs some content.
Right. If he have,
I think he just mean as overall of people, not just like a few people that that we know, or a few people that's talking about it for the overall.
Right, that's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah, he's focusing on a small remnant of people, but because I mean, all the people I know, they waiting on that $200,000, and if they give them more, they waiting on that too.
Exactly, because people talking about getting their own land and doing their thing, because we was doing it when we didn't have nothing. So come on now. And if they squander it, that's them.
Right, that's on them.
Yeah, that's on them.
a lot of them gonna get out of here when they get it.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen with a lot of them. There's a lot of people zeroing in on that. That's the only thing holding them up. They don't have the funds, the resources to get up out of here. Well, they get them there, they'll be out of here.
And I wanted to say the way they were sending money, the way they're still sending money over to Ukraine every 2 days, billions of dollars. Come on now, they could have been paid us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they just all that is they set the stage where they're gonna have to do it because it, you know, like the guy was saying last night was that you know, the Democratic Party need the black vote. And now they're at the point where they got to do something to get the vote for the 2024. And Gavin Newsom is looking to run for president, so that's the reason why he's leading the charge with the reparations in California, because he knows he's gonna need that black vote if he got any kind of chance of winning.
Exactly, because out here we made it very clear that we ain't voting unless it's for our interests. This time we ain't voting for nobody.
Right. Ain't no more kicking the can down the road. They gotta come on with it. Yeah, they gotta come on with it now. Oh, yeah. Is that something? Okay. Yeah, so last night we was dealing with that came up to want to deal with some chapters out of the book of Enoch, and we was dealing with chapters 83 and 86, 83, 84, 85. So I went back and I was looking at that, and I just decided to backdoor it tonight. So here we go. I'm gonna pick up where I was at last night, and okay, it's in the book of Enoch, and I had read. Let me see. I started 83, but I'm gonna read 84 again, and it says, Enoch, chapter 84. And I lifted up my hands in righteousness, and I blessed the Holy and Great One, and I spake with the breath of my mouth and with my tongue of flesh, which God had made for the children of flesh of men, that they should speak therewith. And he gave me the breath and a tongue and a mouth that I should speak therewith. Blessed be thou, O Lord, King, and great and mighty in thy greatness, Lord of the whole creation of the heavens, King of kings, God of the whole world, and thy power and thy kingship and thy greatness abide forever and ever, and throughout all generations thy dominion, and all heavens are thy throne forever, and the whole earth thy footstool forever and ever. And thou hast made and thou rulest all things, and nothing is too hard for thee. Thy wisdom departed not from the place of thy throne, nor turned away from thy presence. And thou knowest and seest and hearest everything, for there is nothing hidden from thee, for thou seest everything. And now the angels of thy heavens are guilty of trespass, and upon flesh of men abideth thy wrath until the great day of judgment. And now, O God and Lord and great King, I implore and beseech thee to fulfill my prayer, to leave me a prosperity on the earth, and not destroy all the flesh of man, and make the earth without inhabitants, so that there shall be an eternal destruction. And now, my Lord, destroy from the earth the flesh which has aroused thy wrath, but the flesh of righteousness and uprightness established as a plant of eternal seed, and hide not thy face from the prayer of thy servant, O Lord. So we had read it was in 83. He was talking about the white cow and the white bull and all this stuff, right? So I'm gonna pick it up in 85. It says, and after this I saw another dream, and I saw and I will show the whole dream to thee, my son. So this is Enoch talking to Methuselah. And Enoch lifted up his voice, spake to his son Methuselah, to thee, my son, will I speak. hear my words, incline thine ear to the dream vision of thy father. Before I took thy mother Edna, I was in a vision in my bed, and behold, a bull came from the earth, came forth from the earth, and that bull was white. So this is what I want to focus on. And that bull was white, and after it came forth a heifer, and after along with this later came forth two bulls, one of them black and the other red, and the black bull gored the red one and punched him over the earth and shoot him over the earth, and thereupon could no longer see the red bull, and but thy black bull grew, and thy heifer went with him, and I saw that many oxen proceeded from him which resembled and followed him, and that cow, that first one, went from the presence of that first bull in order to seek the red one, but found him not, and lamented with a great lamentation over him and sought him. And I looked for the first bull, and I looked until that first bull came to her and quieted her. And from that time onward, she cried no more. And after that, she bore another white bull, and after him, she bore many bulls and black cows. And I saw in my sleep that the white bull likewise grew and became a great white bull. And from him proceeded many white bulls, and they resembled him. And they began to begot many white bulls, which resembled them, one following the other, even many, right? So we see right here, if you go back to creation and the understanding of what happened in the beginning, and the people that was here, the original people, we know they were people of color. So I was going back trying to look at what was going on with that. You know, we had broke it down, but I was looking at it, right? So I kept reading. I went to 86, and it says, and again I saw with mine eyes as I slept, and I saw the heavens above, and behold, a star fell from heaven, and it arose, and it ate and pastured among those oxen. We know this to Samuel. And after that, I saw a large and I saw the large and the black oxen, and behold, they all changed their stalls and pastured and their cattle, and began to live with each other. And again I saw in the vision, and I looked toward the heavens, and behold, I saw many stars. These 200 angels that came down. And I saw many stars ascend and cast themselves down from the heaven to the first star, and they became bulls among those cattle and pastured with them among them. And I looked, and then I saw, and behold, they all let out their private members like horses, and began to cover the cows of the oxen, and they all became pregnant and bore elephants and camels, and all the oxen feared them and were frightened at them, and began to bite with their teeth and to devour and to gore with their horns. And they began moreover to devour those oxen. And behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble and quake because of them, and to flee from them. So we know that when you look at that, you go to Genesis chapter 6. It's when the sons of God, these stars that came down and started sleeping with women, and got giants. And those giants started eating the people. They consumed all the stuff on the earth, and then after they consumed it, then they started eating the people. So my point is this: you go to Enoch chapter 87, and it says, and again I saw how they began to gore each other and to devour each other. These giants, and the earth began to cry aloud. And I raised mine eyes again to heaven, and I saw in a vision, and behold, there came forth from heaven beings who were, check it out, this is the part I'm talking about. So over there they mentioned a white bull. Now right here they're saying, behold, there came forth from heaven beings who were like white men. See that? White men. And four went forth from the place, and three with them. So four and three is seven. That's these seven angels, right? So he's saying they white. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about in a minute. So he's saying they white. See that? These beings came, if they came from heaven, they angels. So he's saying they white. Well, let's look at that right quick before I go forward. So if you go to Genesis chapter, and once you see it, it's ignorant, really. It's ignorant. But so you go to Ezekiel chapter 1 right quick. Okay. I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1. Okay, let me get it. Yeah, chapter 1. And then we see that in chapter 1, Enoch is by the river. Let me read it. Chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 13th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Tabor, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of the king Jehoiakim's captivity, the word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Tabor, and the hand of the Lord was upon him. Right? So here we go. 4. I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and the brightness about it, and out of the midst thereof, the color of amber, out of the midst thereof, midst of the fire. Again, here we go. We go to 4 creatures that he just mentioned. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. These the same 4 creatures over here. Enoch talking about. And they said over in Enoch they was white. But right here it says, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. So he's making a point to let you know how they look. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Everyone had 4 feet, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet was like the soles of a calf's foot, and it sparkled like the color of burnished brass. So they ain't white. Burnished brass is a burnt brown looking color. So they telling you over there they white. And then they also said it was a white bull, right? So let's keep going. So he says a white bull. Let's keep going. He says in verse let me see, all 87, that was it.
87:3.
87 and 3, you say, and those 3 had last come forth, grasped me by my hand, and took me up away from the generations of the earth, raised me up to a lofty place, and showed me the tower raised high above the earth, and all the hills were lower. And one said unto me, remain here until thou seest everything that befall those elephants, camels, asses, and the stars of heaven, and all of them. So this the, like you said, bastards and degenerates. This is bastards and degenerates right there. Elephants, camels, the asses is the giants that came forth from these 200 angels coming down, and the stars are the angels themselves. So and the oxen are the females. It says in Genesis chapter 6, sons of God came down, and when the daughters of men began to multiply, the sons of God came down and intermingled with them. Giants was born. That's what that's saying. So chapter 88 says, here, this is the part I'm talking about. And I saw one of those 4, see that? I saw one of those 4 who had come forward first, and he seized that first star. They seized Lucifer, Samuel, which had fallen from the heavens, bound it hand and foot, and cast it into the abyss. Now that the abyss was narrow and deep, and horrible and dark. And one of them drew a sword, we know that is, and gave it to those elephants or camels, asses, and then they began to smite each other, and the whole earth quaked because of them. And as I was beholding in a vision, lo, one of these 4 who had come forth stoned them from heaven, and gathered and took all the great stars whose private members were like those of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, cast them into the abyss of the earth. Right. Then 89 says, and one of those 4 went to that white bull, right, and instructed him in a secret, without his being terrified, and he was He was born a bull and became a man and built for himself a great vessel and dwelt therein, and 3 bulls dwelt with him in that vessel, and they were covered and they were covered in. So let's go look at that 89 and 1. One of those 4 angels, went to the white bull. So this white bull is Noah. It's Noah right here, but he's a white bull. And he instructed him in a secret. The secret is that the earth is going to be destroyed with water. Without his being terrified, he was, and says, and he was born, and he was born a bull and became a man, and he built for himself a great vessel. That's the ark, and dwelt therein, and 3 bulls with him. That's Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? And 3 bulls dwelt with him within that vessel, and they were covered in, right? So now my point is this right here. If you go to Enoch chapter 106, so they saying that Adam and them was white. That's what they're saying. So I'm in Enoch chapter 106. And it says, this actually the book of Noah, if you understand what's going on. It's got the book of Noah within the book of Enoch. So 106 says, and after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. Now here you go. And his body was white as snow. See that? Noah, saying Noah was white. See that? And his body was white as snow and red as the blooming of a rose, and the hair on his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes were beautiful. So you got Negroes, Hebrew Christians saying that this Noah, but he's an albino. So if he's an albino, that's defective. That's a defect. Most I said Noah was perfect in his generation. He white, but he got dreadlocks. That's albino. Okay, and then 3. And when he had opened his eyes, he got blue eyes. And when he had opened his eyes, he lit up the whole room, the whole house, like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. And thereupon he rose in his hand, in the hands of the midwife, and opened his mouth and conversed with the Lord of hope, or the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid. Check it out. I'm gonna go back to what he was saying about the white bulls. And his father Lamech was afraid of him and fled and came to his father Methuselah. Here we go. And he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son. Check it out. Diverse from an unlike man. He resembled the sons of God. So Noah white. The angel's white. See that? So he says, and he resembled the sons of God of heaven. And his nature is different. And he looks not like us. And his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I fear that in his days, a wonder may be wrought upon earth. So he's saying Noah is white. Adam was white. White bull, Adam white. The angel's white. Okay, so that's absurd. Yeah, any comments on that? No comment?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I thought they was just using a white bull for like a metaphor or something.
I kept reading. I kept on reading. I went back and read it.
I see.
And I remember, on another channel that the person was talking about was talking about Noah was an albino. No, ain't nothing good about that. Hey, Noah can't be no albino. You ever looked at an albino anything? It's defective.
Right.
So come on, man. And so I'm like, wow, how in the hell you come to that conclusion?
And albinos have a short lifespan.
Right, exactly. And then when you do your research, all the rest of the animals, the normal animals, they won't even deal with it. That's why he died. That's why he have a short lifespan, because they don't deal with it. They won't have no intercourse with it. They don't interact with it or nothing. It eventually die.
That's right.
from not having no attention. Right. So I'm gonna read 89 just for GP, then close out. It says, and one of those four went to that white bull and instructed him. Okay, I read that too. And again, I raised mine eyes toward heaven, and I saw a lofty roof with 7 water torrents thereon, and those torrents flowed with much water into an enclosure. And I saw again, and behold, fountains were open on the surface of that great enclosure, and that water began to swell and rise upon the surface. And I saw that the enclosure until all its surface was covered with water, and the water, the darkness, and the mist increased upon it. And as I looked at the height of the water, that the water had risen above the heights of that enclosure, and was streaming over that enclosure, and it stood upon the earth, and all the cattle of the enclosure were gathered together until I saw how they sank and were swallowed up and perished in that water. But that vessel floated on the water, while all the oxen and the elephants and the camels and the asses sank to the bottom with all the animals, because I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank into the depths. And again I saw in a vision until those water torrents were removed from that high roof, and the chasm of the earth were leveled up, and other abyss were open. Then the water began to run down into the seas until the earth became visible. But that vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. But that white bull, here you go, the white bull which had became a man came out of that vessel as Noah, the white, and the 3 bulls with him. And one of those 3 bulls was white, like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and one black. And that white bull departed from them, and they began to bring forth beasts of the field and birds, so that there arose different generations: lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild bulls, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, ravens, and among them was born a white bull, and they began to bite one another. But the white bull which was born among them begat a wild ass, and a white bull with it, and the wild ass multiplied. But that bull which was born from him begot a black wild bull and a white sheep, and the former begot many bulls, but the sheep begot 12 sheep, that's 12 tribes of Israel. And when those 12 sheep had grown, they gave up one of them to the asses, that's Joseph. And those asses again gave up that sheep to the wolves, and the sheep grew up among the wolves, and the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with it, and to pasture with it among the wolves, and they multiplied and became many flocks of sheep. And the wolves began to fear them, and they oppressed them until they destroyed their little ones, and they cast their young into the river of much water, that's in Egypt. But those sheep began to cry out aloud on account of their little ones, and to complain unto their Lord. And the sheep which had been saved from the wolves fled and escaped to the wild asses. And I saw the sheep how they laminated and cried as Moses, and besought their Lord with their might, with all their might, until that Lord of the sheep descended at the voice of the sheep from the lofty abode, and came to them and pastured them. And he called that sheep which he had escaped the wolves, and spake with it concerning the wolves, that it should admonish them not to touch the sheep. So that's Moses going to the Egyptians. And the sheep went to the wolves according to the word of the Lord, and another sheep met it, Aaron, and went with it, and the 2 went and entered together into the assembly of those wolves, and spake with them, and admonished them not to touch the sheep from henceforth. And thereupon I saw the wolves how they oppressed the sheep exceedingly with all their power, and the sheep cried aloud. So he said, make brick without straw. And the Lord came to the sheep, and they began to smite those wolves, and the wolves began to make lamentation, but the sheep became quiet, or forthwith ceased to cry. And I saw the sheep until they departed from among the wolves, the Exodus. But the eyes of the wolves were blinded, and those wolves departed in pursuit of the sheep with all their power. And the Lord of the sheep went with them as their leader, and all the sheep followed him, and his face was dazzling and glorious and terrible to behold. But the wolves began to pursue those sheep until they reached a sea of water, and that sea was divided, the Red Sea, and the water stood on this side and on that and on that before their face, and their Lord led them and placed them between them and the wolves. And as those wolves did not yet see the sheep, they proceeded into the midst of the sea, and the wolves followed the sheep, and those wolves ran after them into the sea. Oh my man. It says, and when they saw the Lord of the sheep, they turned to flee before the face, but the sea gathered itself together and became. Okay, hold on 1 minute. And the sheep saw the Lord of the sheep, and they turned to flee before his face, but the sea gathered itself together and became as it had been created, and the water swelled and rolled until it covered those wolves. And I saw until all the wolves who pursued those sheep perished and were drowned, but the sheep escaped from that water and went forth into a wilderness where there was no water and no grass, and they began to open their eyes and to see. And I saw the Lord of the sheep pasturing them and giving them water and grass, and that sheep going and leading them, and that sheep ascended to the summit of the lofty rock, Mount Hermon, I think it is, Mount Zion, and the Lord of hosts and the Lord of the sheep sent it to them. And after that I saw the Lord of the sheep who stood before them, and his appearance was great and terrible and majestic. And all those sheep saw him and were afraid before his face, and they all feared and trembled because of him. And they cried to that sheep which was amongst them, we are not able to stand before our Lord or to behold him. And that sheep which led them again ascended to the summit of the rock. But the sheep began to be blinded and to wander from the way which they had showed them. But the sheep would not thereof. And the Lord of the sheep was wrathful exceedingly against them. And that sheep discovered it, and went down from the summit of the rock, came to the sheep, found the greatest part of them blinded and fallen away. And when they saw it, they feared and trembled at his presence, and desired to return to their fold. And that sheep took other sheep with it, and came to those sheep which had fallen away, and began to slay them. And the sheep feared it presence, and thus that sheep brought back those sheep that had fallen away, and they returned to their fold. And I saw in a vision until the sheep became a man, and built a house for the Lord of sheep, and placed all the sheep in that house. And I saw until this sheep which had met that sheep which led them fell asleep. And I saw until all the great sheep perished, and the little ones arose in their place, and they came to a pasture and approached the stream of water. Then that sheep, their leader, which is Joshua, which had became a man, withdrew from them, fell asleep, and all the sheep saw it and cried over it with a great cry. And I saw until they left off crying for the sheep and crossed the stream of water. And there arose the two sheep as leaders in the place of those which had fallen asleep, and led them. And I saw until the sheep came to a great goodly place and a pleasant and glorious land. And I saw until those sheep were satisfied, and that the house stood amongst them in the pleasant land, the temple. And sometimes their eyes were open, and sometimes blinded, until another sheep arose and led them and brought them all back, and their eyes were open. And the dogs and the foxes and the wild boars began to devour their sheep, until the Lord of the sheep raised up another sheep, a ram from their midst, which led them, and that ram began to butt on either side those dogs, foxes, and wild bulls until he had destroyed them all. And that sheep whose eyes were open saw that ram which is among the sheep until he forsook its glory and began to butt those sheep and trample upon them and behave itself unseemly. And the Lord of sheep sent the lamb to another lamb and raised it to begin into being a ram and leader of the sheep instead of that ram which had forsaken his glory. And he came to it and spake to it alone and raised it to being a man and made it the prince of the leader of the sheep. But doing all these things, those dogs oppressed the sheep. And the first man pursued that second ram, and the second ram arose and fled before it. And I saw until those dogs pulled down the first ram, and that second ram arose and led the little sheep. Okay, so that's I'm gonna stop right here, man. So anyway, that's chapter 89. And so, like I was saying before last night, this don't sound like no Hebrew. You can pretty much tell what they're talking about, but this ain't making no sense as far as the way we understand the scriptures in the King James in the Bible. It's the stories are related to the Bible, but this ain't how the Israelites conveyed. Okay, any comments?
I was just wondering, you know who the ram was? The first ram?
I think it's David. David.
Yeah. Well, then he was saying that there was a ram that he had to replace him because that ram, where was it? Because that was Saul.
Yeah, Saul.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Because I remember in one of the prophets, I think it was it David? He had one of the kings had a dream, and he was dreaming about the lean calves, and then the ones that were bad. That those were using those kind of symbolisms.
Yeah, but not to this, not like this.
But was it Enoch came before King James, right?
Oh yeah, right, exactly. But I'm saying that this whole, I mean the whole of it, because if you when you get in there, they're gonna mention JC.
Yeah, the hijack. Well, yeah, the hijack is in all these books.
Right. So it says, in 42 it says, and it went and it says, and it went to it and spake to it alone, and raised it to be a ram, and made it the prince and leader of the sheep. But doing all these things, those dogs oppressed the sheep. So this is Saul. 43. And the first ram, says Saul, pursued the second ram, David. Because you remember David got anointed while Saul was still ruling. So it said the first ram, the first king, pursued the second, and the second ram aroused and fled before it, and I saw until those dogs pulled down the first ram. They killed. Saul was killed.
Right.
The second ram arose and led the little sheep. And those sheep grew and multiplied. That's during David's time. But all the dogs, the foxes, the wild bulls feared and fled before it, that the ram butted and kicked and killed the wild beasts. And those wild beasts had no longer any power among the sheep and robbed them no more of all. That's what David ruled. And that ram begot many sheep and fell asleep, David. And that little sheep became a ram in his stead and became prince and leader of those sheep. That's Solomon. Okay.
Well, that was good. We just have to dodge the hijack, because they in there. But I mean, I'm able to follow along pretty much with the storyline.
It is. Yeah. You can. if you know the stories in the scriptures, you can follow along, but it just don't I mean, it's nothing in it, no anointing and nothing in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, like I said, if you know those stories, you can pretty much figure it out what they talking about. It throws you off when they start talking about white bulls, and then you come to realize they're actually saying that they white folks. That's what they're trying to portray.
Right.
Isn't this something?
Yeah, that's the hijack. But I like when they call them dirty dogs.
Oh, right. right. Okay. And this something? Yeah. So I'm quite sure everybody on here got a book of Enoch, right?
I don't.
You never did get one?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Me neither.
You can get a PDF online.
Right, you can get it. Like she said, until you get. Like I said, go. My thing. What I did was, I got all mine used. You just go to eBay, and then just type in the search block Book of Enoch, and then when you find the black one, I think it's about Derek Shaver. Just go down. It's gonna say used. You got new and used. Just get the used one. They like half the price of the new.
On eBay or Amazon.
It don't matter, but more than likely I say go to eBay because that's where they had I know that's where I got mine. It was you got new and used books. You just get the used one.
Right, they have it, and they have Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher. It's all in one book by Derek Shaver.
Yeah, you can get
all. And check thrift books.
What's that?
Thrift books.
Thrift?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, you probably find them now. I know when I first started looking around, they wasn't, they wasn't out there like that, but they probably out there like that now. I don't know, but I know you can get it off of eBay and off of Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can also send you guys the PDF of the Targum too. So I can email it to you.
Okay.
And Enoch, if you need Enoch. I got a bunch of books on file. So just some kind of way, give me your email address.
Okay, that'll work. I can put my email address in the comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So like I say, we'll be on Clubhouse tomorrow at 8:00 for our Clubhouse class. And until then, I'll see everybody at 8:00. I want to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. Okay.
Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, fam.
All right.
Shalom.
Shalom, y'all.
Bye-bye. Shalom.